Ready, give it to go. Terrence, you first. Accio. Good. Bailey.
Accio.
Very good. Luke.
Accio.
Wonderful. Now Gretchen.
Accio.
Excellent. Now all together on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Accio Hogwarts Radio.
This is Hogwarts Radio, episode 229 for January 13th, 2019. Hogwarts Radio is the official podcast for Wizarding News from HPA&A, discussing all things Harry Potter, Fantastic Beasts, and the rest of the Wizarding world. For the quickest up-to-date news on the franchise, make sure you check out wizarding.news. Hello everyone, and this is Hogwarts Radio, broadcasting to Harry Potter and Fantastic Beasts fans since 2008. I'm Terrence Pinkston.
And I'm Gretchen Rush. Our show can be found virtually anywhere online, such as iTunes, the Google Podcast app, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Radio Public, and other places where podcasts are aggregated.
It doesn't matter where or how you listen, just make sure to tap the subscribe button, and we guarantee you'll have a new episode each Sunday.
We also invite you to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram so you never miss an update from the show.
Don't forget, Hogwarts Radio is also on Patreon. By pledging, you'll have instant access to many benefits, including Into the Common Room, behind-the-scenes planning of the show, Hogshead Radio, and much more. Visit patreon.com/HogwartsRadio to sign up today. Welcome to episode 229. Gretchen and I are here, and we released the basilisk who petrified Luke and Bailey. Then we locked them in the Chamber of Secrets and threw away the key.
Finally.
Cannot say how happy I am to do that.
So sick of those guys. Last week was like the first time I've seen him in forever, and I was like, ugh, you two.
But we are pleased to welcome Sydney back to the show. Hi, Sydney.
Hello. How is everyone today?
I am doing good. I like to speak for everybody, apparently. I'm not going to speak for Gretchen.
That's fine. Terrence is doing good.
Well, guys, we were talking in our Slack chat a few days ago on failed Wizarding World slogans. Like, I think we touched on this last episode whenever we were discussing Bertie Bott's Every Flavor Beans. And we were like, God, who really likes those? Because that's my favorite Wizarding World candy. And it's like, what would a slogan for Bertie Bott's Every Flavor Beans be? And I don't know. I mean, like, I'm thinking of horrible slogans. You know, kind of like that episode of Friends where Chandler is going into marketing and he's like, they're skates for your feet, and he's talking about like rollerblades or something like that. You know, I can't quite remember exactly what that is, but like for Bertie Bott's Every Flavor Beans, it could be an adventure in every mouthful. That's just awful. That's awful.
No. Also, people like put like full mouthfuls of Bernie Bott's in their mouths. Like that's brave.
Well, yeah, I was talking last week. I accidentally did that over Christmas because I forgot they were Bertie Bott's, and it was horrible, I will say. It was an adventure, too, so maybe it's a pretty accurate slogan.
Oh, well, see, there you go. How about this for like a Nimbus 2000? Surprisingly comfortable. I don't know.
Comfortable for wood.
I don't know. I don't know about sitting on broomsticks, if that's comfortable or not. See, that's one thing about the Wizarding World that got me, is like, how could sitting on a broom ever be comfortable?
Magic?
Sure.
True.
I wonder if like you know how you get like saddle sore? You could be like broomstick store or something. How about extendable ears? Like they could be extendable ears. We have nothing to do with the eyes. Clearly, I'm not cut out for wizarding marketing. I don't know. I don't know what a few more would be. Like flute patter. Better not say the wrong word.
Get it right.
Right. Get it right the first time. Well, we know I have a future career in podcasting, thank God, but it's not in marketing. So I'm happy about that. But anyway, that's just some of the crap that flows through my mind sometimes. So I'm like, hey, this would be good for the show. Let's go ahead and put it on there. Anyway, let's get to a couple of Twitter shout outs that we have this week. Shout out to our good friend Tiffany from the Swish and Flick podcast. We invite you to give them a listen as well. Hilarious and informative group of ladies. I have to say, we've had them on the show quite a few times. So definitely give them a listen. And yeah, thank you, Tiffany, for responding. I know I did it kind of quick. Usually we'll get all of our responses after we record our episode. So if we missed you, we'll try to grab you for next week's episode. Well, Gretchen, what's been going on in the Wizarding news cycle?
Well, after our last episode came out, we had a pretty exciting announcement that directly related to our episode. So it was very funny timing. We got the release date for the Goblet of Fire Illustrated Edition. So Bloomsbury has revealed that it will be published on October 8th, 2019. So this fall, just like we thought. And they've confirmed that the book will include the original text, complete and unabridged, just like the other ones, with a foiled jacket, head and tail bands, a ribbon marker, and illustrated end papers. A deluxe edition will also be released with a real cloth cover and slipcase, intricate foiled line art decorating both case and slipcase, an opulent large format, and gilt edges. So it's not available for pre-order yet, but once it is, we'll let you know. So that exclusive deluxe edition, that sounds sick.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. Have they done that for the other ones?
I don't think so. I don't remember hearing about them.
No, it sounds really nice. Like,
Yeah.
I want that for my coffee table, just like that one specifically. Also, I feel like it's going to be like giant because
Huge.
Goblet of Fire is huge, so it's going to be a gigantic book. Like, what are they going to do for Order of the Phoenix once that one comes out? Like,
I know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. Do we know a price at all?
They have not released a price yet. I'm guessing I'm trying to remember what I paid for the other ones. It was probably between 20 and 30, probably higher towards 30. So I'm guessing this one's got to be at least 30.
I bet it's going to be like $50.
That's what I was
with all
just
those
thinking.
bells and whistles that they're putting on that, I'm saying at least $50.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's I would say that's pretty accurate, right around the 50 mark, because as the books start to increase in size, I mean, it's natural that the price should go up. I would expect to pay more for it, and in fact, I would want to pay a little bit more for it because you're getting more content, you're getting more illustrations, you're just getting more bang for your buck.
Yeah, definitely. And that's why I feel like Order of the Phoenix is going to be so crazy, because they are keeping them unabridged, but they're also adding in all these beautiful illustrations and taking away space for the text. So it's just got to be, I mean, I can't wait to see it. I'm thrilled.
How many
I'm just so surprised that they're not like splitting these up into like Goblet of Fire Part 1, Goblet of Fire Part 2, like, because that's not going to be like gigantic. It's going to be heavy.
It won't be readable, really.
It's going to be like King James Bible big,
Like, here's this book. It just sits on my coffee table. I can't actually read it because I can't pick it up. Like,
I mean,
I can't open it.
It sounds like you're going to be able to like level your bed with these, like raise your bed up on platforms, Nonetheless, I'm excited for this. And the illustrated editions, I went and picked the other 3 up the other day. It wasn't too bad. It did cost about $100 for all of them. So, of course, it's what I expected. And hey, if you're going to start collecting them now to where you only pay like $20 to $30 for each book, because if you wait until the entire series comes out, you're looking at upwards of maybe $200 for all of these books, all of these illustrated editions.
So our next piece of news is about the BAFTA nominations. So these came out and some Potter people were nominated. So for original music, Alexander Desplat, who composed the music for Deathly Hallows Parts 1 and 2. He was nominated for the film Isle of Dogs. And in the production design and the special visual effects design, Crimes of Grindelwald was nominated, so that's very cool. And then Alfonso Cuarón, who directed the 3rd movie, he has this new film, Roma. It's actually on Netflix, and I've been meaning to watch it. Ton of nominations and a lot of buzz around it. So he was nominated, and that film was nominated for director, original screenplay, film not in English, cinematography, and editing.
Cool stuff. Award season is about to kick off. So do we expect Fantastic Beasts at all to, be nominated? I mean, here it is at the BAFTA, nominated for production design and special visual effects, which, I mean, yes, I totally agree with these nominations and definitely think it has a strong chance of winning. What about the Academy Awards that are coming up here in about a month? Do we think that it could possibly be nominated for any category? Anything strong that you guys might think?
I have a feeling if it was going to get nominated, it'd be for kind of like your typical stuff, like what they won last time for costuming, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I feel like it would probably be something like that. Best Picture, supporting. I can't pick any of those. But that doesn't mean like down the line that they won't be as these films get like better and better. So I have faith one day we'll get a nomination.
Yeah. Would it be
Yeah.
would it be disappointing if it didn't win anything at all, or is that kind of expected? I mean, the Wizarding World films have always been snubbed at, the Oscars and other high-end award shows.
Yeah, I'm not expecting it to win anything. And honestly, like this day and age, we have so many technically proficient movies that you look at this movie and of course the effects are wonderful, but there are so many other movies that are doing it and doing new things. This is now the 9th movie in the same effects that we've already seen. And some of them are a little different, a little tweaked, but ultimately I think there are so many other contenders now that, I mean, if they weren't going to nominate the Harry Potter films and they were doing them for the first time, I don't know why they would nominate the second Fantastic Beasts film. And I don't really care, honestly.
Yeah, I think the fandom as a whole is really over it. And rightly so. I mean, there's a lot of people that were disappointed that the Potter films didn't pick up and get the attention of the Oscars like it should have. I mean, we keep mentioning the Oscars, but it's like the top of the award shows. So. I don't expect Fantastic Beasts to really kind of pick up anything. Maybe production design, and costuming, but it really didn't have anything that stood out, like as far as music and best original screenplay, stuff like that. Although that would be cool for J.K. Rowling to win best original screenplay.
Well, I think the score was really good. Like, this is one of my very favorite Potter, like, Wizarding World scores, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, maybe they could get something for that. That would be really neat if that happened, but I don't really picture it happening for any of the other kind of major awards. Well,
we shall see.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Yes, we will. In other news, the new Cursed Child on Broadway cast was announced. It was a couple weeks ago at this point, but we were so busy and on hiatus that we didn't get a chance to actually talk about the people who are filling in these roles. So obviously, Cursed Child on Broadway, right now, the majority of the people who are the main cast members came from the London production. So they're the original people, and people who are going to see the Broadway show have gotten to see those original Londoner cast. A majority of them were all British. And now we're going to have Broadway equity actors coming in and replacing those people, which means the majority of them are not British. In fact, none of them are British. So let's talk about who is going to be filling in these iconic roles. So Harry Potter, it will be played by James Snyder. You may know him from the musicals on Broadway, Crybaby, If Then, and In Transit. And in a video from the first day of rehearsal, he expressed his shock at being involved in the production. He said, "In my wildest dreams, I would have never been in this play. I'm still in disbelief, and I think a lot of us are just still giddy with what it means to be a part of this world." The video is super cute. Everyone is really, really adorable. I don't care that they're not British. They're great. So also joining him is Diane Davis as Ginny and Nicholas Podeny as Albus Severus. And playing Ron is Broadway newbie Matt Mueller. And playing Hermione Granger will be Jenny Jules, who made her Broadway debut in 2016. Nadia Brown will be playing Rose Granger Weasley. And Draco Malfoy will be played by New Zealander Jonah Roberts, with Bubba Weiler probably playing his son Scorpius Malfoy. So the only name I recognize in this bunch was James Snyder. I am familiar with those musicals he was in, and he's very good in those musicals. So I'm excited. He's really adorable. But the rest of them I didn't know. And obviously there's one New Zealander, but all the rest of them are American as far as I can tell. So it is going to be different, I think, to have American actors finally playing these iconic roles on an American stage. What do you guys think?
So is Cursed Child, does that have any, I mean, I know it has its own score, but is there any singing involved with it? Is there none? Not at all. So
Nope.
it's just a play.
Yep,
Like,
strict
wow.
play.
Okay. See, I'm not much of a theater going type. I mean, just because I'm nowhere near any place that really has shows. I mean, every once in a while they will have a few down here, and I'm not able to catch up. But I've heard a lot of positive buzz about James Snyder from his previous roles, especially about In Transit. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how these American actors are going to portray these characters.
Yeah, it's exciting. Also, do we know, are they going to have British accents, or are they going to just have their normal talking voice, do you think?
I think they must be doing accents because these are, I mean, it's not a Potter inspired story. You know, it is a story about Harry Potter. So they must be doing accents.
Mm-hmm.
Hope those are good for them, because otherwise people are not probably going to be happy.
So
Yeah,
Gretchen,
could be risky.
Gretchen, you're you're the theater goer out of the group. You know, you've gone to a couple Broadway shows. Who, aside from James Snyder, anybody you're really looking forward to seeing?
I don't know any of these other guys, but watching the video, Nicholas Padani was super cute. He's playing Albus Severus, and he was just so adorable. And he talked a bit in the video about how nervous he was, and he said he was a little overeager to be joining the cast. And he said, I always assumed a project like Harry Potter would attract people who are generous, and that's exactly what's happened. So it's really, really exciting to watch these new actors in the video. They're kind of getting to know each other, and they're doing games to really mesh as a family and as a group. So I think that they all just look like they're having a blast, and it's great to be getting some fresh energy to the show now that it's been on Broadway for a while and we've had that original cast. Now we can say, all right, let's go see these new people and see what they're doing and how they're kind of embodying those roles. So I mean, you know, I'm going to see it one day, so maybe this is the cast I see.
You know, it's a good point. A lot of positive energy is what I'm seeing from this group. So it's definitely something to keep your eye on as far as this cast. And like you said, Gretchen, maybe this is the one that is our cast that would go and see the play. We'll see.
Yeah, that is it for the news.
Okie dokie. And let's move on to an email that we have for you. And I'm so sorry to this listener. She emailed us at around the holidays, and we're just now getting to her. But yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and respond to her here on the show instead of just typing out the email. So she goes, "Hello, this is Kylie Olson. I'm a super big Harry Potter fan, and I absolutely love your podcast. It is heartwarming that there's adults that appreciate the series as much as I do. I love all of your comments, theories, and jokes. Aw, thank you. That go on during each and every show. I'm a Hufflepuff. I'm in my 4th year, or at least I would be, and I found out that if the series actually existed, then I would be the same age as James Sirius Potter, who would have been 14 in the year 2018, which I thought was really cool. I live 2 hours away from Universal Orlando, and I'm so frustrated that I haven't been to the Harry Potter Wizarding World yet. In fact, I find myself almost crying when someone says they have been. It's that bad. You can laugh all you want, but as Hermione has taught me, you have to love yourself. You also have to have a love of books, which I do, especially if they have 500 pages or more, which is wonderful in my opinion. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I wish you all the best and a happy new year, which just so happens to be my birthday." Well, thank you for the email, Kylie, and happy belated birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday. Hope it was a good one.
Yeah. Definitely, and email us if you ever get the chance to make it down to Orlando. I think you'll have a great time at the theme park.
Yes, you can do it, Kylie. I believe in you. You'll get there just like I'm going to get to Cursed Child.
Oh, I have wishful thinking. I have high hopes, you know. You know what? Maybe I'll make that my challenge. We all know how I like challenges, right? Maybe I'll make
your
that.
New Year's resolution is to get to Cursed Child.
That will be my New Year's resolution. Actually, I haven't set a New Year's resolution yet, so that's going to be a goal. I think we'll take it off of the bucket list and put it on the 2019 list.
There you go.
Sounds fun. But if you have a question or a comment about anything that we've said on the show, send us an email to staff@hogwartsradio.com. We'd love to read it on the air. Let's go through a couple of announcements before we get to today's discussion. Do you want even more Hogwarts Radio? Even more of this? Yes, you do. The answer is yes. Consider donating to our show over on Patreon. Only 4 more patrons are needed until we hit our next goal. That's it. Just 4 more, you guys. And if we hit a total of 15 patrons, which is 4 more from now, we're going to extend the runtime of our show to an hour and a half instead of just the hour. So you're going to get an additional half hour of Hogwarts Radio if we get 4 more patrons. And that's at any level. You know, you can be either a first year or a sixth year. It doesn't matter what level it is. We just need 4 more patrons until we hit that next goal. We'd love to be able to sit here and talk for hours on end, in which some cases we do. We'd like to give you guys an hour and a half show every week. I think that would be fun. Also, we are looking for another part-time host for the show. Casting call, that's right. Doesn't matter if you're British, if you're American, if you have an accent. Ooh, that would be a plus, though. That'd be awesome. I love accents. But if you have 2 nights a month free to record with us, that's it. Just 2 nights a month. And you want to talk Fantastic Beasts and Harry Potter, send us an email to staff@hogwartsradio.com, and we'd love to discuss it with you about joining our team. And finally, don't forget to rate and review our podcast on iTunes. This week, we're specifically looking for iTunes reviews. So if you listen to us on an Apple device, or you have the ability to get iTunes, just leave us a comment right there at the bottom on our show page. We greatly appreciate it. Okay, guys, so our discussion this week is going to center around just a few questions I was picking and choosing around the online community. And I thought this first one here, it would be pretty interesting. If you had the opportunity to talk to any character from the Wizarding world, who would it be and why? It doesn't even have to be somebody you like. It could just be whoever you want. So, Gretchen, let's go ahead and start with you.
Well, it's funny that you say it doesn't have to be someone you like, because my first thought was Draco Malfoy, just because I want to see like how annoying he is. But then I was like, nah, it's stupid. So I ended up picking Ginny, because I just think she is awesome, and I feel like we would have a lot in common, a lot to talk about. We could head out for a game of Quidditch. We could go to the Hog's Head and just chill, and we could chat about like life and broomsticks and stuff, and I could learn about if a broomstick's actually comfortable. So yeah, I picked Ginny Weasley because I think she's bomb.com.
Jenny.
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 No, not Jenny.
Jenny.
Definitely not her. Who did you pick, Terrence?
I picked Dumbledore, and we all know how I feel about Dumbledore. And you know, this doesn't even have to be young Dumbledore or old Dumbledore. It just has to be. Yeah, it just has to be Dumbledore in general. So while I do have issues with him, he is incredibly wise. He's very, very smart. There's a lot of information in his head, and sometimes I would really like to hear his advice on certain situations, certain real life situations, especially. I feel like he could put a lot of things into context for me. He could be like the one that kind of calms me down when I'm having like a freak out or something like that. He could be Dumbledore and put all of his Dumbledore-ness onto me. I would like to just really get to know why he thinks the way that he thinks on some things.
Yeah, Dumbledore would be cool to have a conversation with. Just sit down, chat about life.
Yeah, I mean, he's like 100 and something years old. If I'm talking to old Dumbledore, he's like 100 and something years old, right? So he's had a lot of life experience. So he's definitely someone that you can talk to about some situation that you're going through.
Also, I bet if you're just going out and getting a drink with him, or having a cup of coffee, he'll probably bring candy. So that's dope. You'd be able to eat all this yummy candy that he loves so much. So
yeah, have some lemon drops with you.
Yeah.
Priorities. Make sure he's got candy.
Yeah.
I'll pick Ginny.
It's like one of those older relatives. You go and visit them, right? And they always have candy or cookies or something. Let's talk to Grandpa Dumbledore today. He's like, back in my day, I fought Grindelwald.
That's nice, Grandpa.
What about you, Sydney? Who would you like to have a discussion with from the Wizarding world?
So funny enough, Gretchen said she thought about Draco first. And I was like, no, he'd be too annoying. I would love to have a conversation with Draco. But post Wizarding World war, I need him I don't know, 3, 4, 5 years after the series ended. And I just want to know more about Draco as just a person. How did you become who you are, and who are you however many years later? Because for me, Draco is one of the most interesting characters in this series. You just loathe him the entire series. He's annoying, he's awful, and then Half-Blood Prince hits, and he becomes a lot more complex. And so I would love to just have a conversation with him I'd love to find out, like, why didn't you tell people who Harry was at Malfoy Manor? Like, how did all of these things all shape you? So I would love to talk to Draco, but specifically 3, 4, or 5 years down the line, Draco. Not Draco as, like, 11-year-old Draco.
Right. Well, that is one of the things, like, Half-Blood Prince has always been my favorite book, and that is one of the things that I found most intriguing, was that whole Draco plotline and Harry trying to figure it all out. I was like, oh, this is so interesting. It's so fun to see something else besides him being like, oh, Potter, you suck.
Yeah.
So I do agree with you. I'm with you.
I kind of feel like Draco, even after the Wizarding War, would be that same kind of sour person, but have a deeper understanding and a deeper appreciation for people that are not working against him. You know, he still has those really Slytherin-esque qualities where, you know, he's still cunning. He's still gonna be that annoying git that we all know throughout the series, but I feel like he isn't as I'm not going to say prejudice. Well, yeah, he wouldn't be as prejudiced towards his peers, but still the same old sour person.
Yeah, probably. I just feel like Draco, like, also, like, probably grew up in, like, a really bad environment, like, awful parents. So I feel like he got away from that, and he maybe is like, oh, well, yeah, I was, like, a pretty, like, awful person. Maybe I need to change that, so.
I feel like he would be a really good politician. But that's a story for another day, I think. The next question I have is astronomy class at midnight. So according to this thread on Reddit, astronomy class for first years is held at midnight on Wednesdays, according to the Harry Potter Wikipedia. If this is true, how did 11-year-olds stay up that late and then go to class the next morning? It would be pretty bad sleep schedule if they just napped in the afternoon and then stayed up all night. What do you guys think?
I was just rereading Sorcerer's Stone, like, very recently, and I got to that part and I was like, I forgot they had class at midnight. Like, what the heck? They're 11. Like, they need their sleep. I like to think that, like, class the next day just starts later, maybe. So, like, you have, like, a late start or something. But I mean, that's so late. Like, what are you doing the rest of the day? Is that your only class? Are you taking naps beforehand? Like, so many questions.
Yeah,
that's what I thought, that maybe just Thursday classes. Like, they've worked the schedule, so it's the same amount of classes, but, like, maybe you start a bit later on Wednesday and then have class all day and night, and then you start later on Thursday and just have class for a little bit. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that would really, if they started class later, that would really still throw their schedules off, because I would imagine, like, breakfast is the same time every morning, regardless of what time you have class, you know, because you still have other students that might not be, that aren't taking those classes, you know, that they're getting to bed at, like, a normal hour and stuff like that. So, you know, I can't imagine how it must be throwing their, you know, not just their sleep schedule off, but their food schedule as well. Like, do they just skip breakfast? As an 11-year-old, I don't know. I couldn't imagine skipping breakfast, especially whenever I have to use my brain all day. Like, food is brain power, yo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what's weird to me is that it starts at midnight. Like, couldn't it start at, like, 11 and maybe end at midnight? Because then they could still get, like, 7.5 hours of sleep, make it to breakfast. Just, like, did it need to start at midnight, really?
And how long are the classes? And
right,
like, is it only on Wednesdays? I mean, is this like a once a week class? Because I know in college, whenever I had a once a week class, it was like a 3-hour class. So if this starts at midnight, you know, these poor kids aren't getting out till like 3 a.m. I don't know. Yeah,
late night watching the stars.
I'd be like, screw astronomy. I wonder, is it something they have to take as first years?
Yeah, I think so. If I remember right, I'm pretty sure it's like a required class that all first years must take astronomy, and it starts at midnight.
Part of their core curriculum or something like that. Then it becomes an elective later on. Yeah.
Probably. Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Let's see. Another question. We talked about this last week a bit, but would Newt be able to tame a basilisk? Now, if you guys remember, last week's episode, we asked if Newt was able to study Dementors. This week, we'd like to talk if he ever had the chance to study very, very dangerous basilisk. And it was never mentioned in the series if Dumbledore explicitly knew about the basilisk inside of the castle. So could that also be Newt's basilisk? And I mean, how long do basilisks really live?
Well, haven't that basilisk been down there for like hundreds of years, if I remember correctly? Like it was Salazar Slytherins. So it'd been down there for a really long time.
So yeah, I was thinking about that. And okay, so the basilisk, if it was put in the Chamber of Secrets by Slytherin, it has to be almost 1,000 years old, right?
Yeah.
So what? I mean, obviously you got to have subsistence. You gotta have food. You gotta have, I mean, there's plenty of water down there and stuff. But like, I just don't see a snake surviving for 1,000 years down in the Chamber of Secrets with like nothing to eat and all that other stuff. I don't know.
But Terrence, magic.
Right, magic.
Does it need food when it has magic? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't think that, I don't think that Newt would be able to tame a basilisk. He doesn't speak parcel tongue as far as we're aware, right? I feel like that's like very important.
Yeah, that's absolutely a must, is to speak parcel tongue. That's really the only thing that could fail him, is like somebody else that speaks parcel tongue who actively tries to stop a basilisk from getting tamed, right? So, again, this comes back to, was a basilisk ever included in the book Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because, yes, this says that Newt Scamander stated in the 52nd edition of Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them that there have been no recorded sightings of basilisks in Britain for the last 400 years. Harry Potter wrote in his copy of the book, "That's what you think."
Nice.
So yeah, I guess maybe he just never had the chance, because he's like, well, these aren't around, so I can't ever study them. Even if, I feel like Newt would learn parcel tongue. He would dedicate himself to that, even though it's probably not possible. But he would try, I think.
I mean, he could figure out some phrases. He just has to find a friend that speaks parcel tongue, right? And then
yeah, I figured out some phrases. Saya hasi heth, saya hasi she. Right?
Sounds great to me.
You could Ron it. Okay, so it says, although an average basilisk is said to have an average lifespan of 900 years, Salazar Slytherin's basilisk lived for approximately 1,000 years, being there since Slytherin built the Chamber of Secrets around that time. Okay, so that's pretty cool.
I think it survived on hate. It was just fueled by the hatred of Slytherin.
See, as described by Pine the Elder, basilisks don't get very large, only the length of 12 fingers. However, in nature, snakes don't stop growing until they die. So it could explain why a basilisk, which can live over 900 years, would get so huge. Huh. Okay, well, the more you know then. Wow, okay, so that's like one beast that Newt has not had the ability to study. Can you imagine him keeping a basilisk in his Newt case?
I feel like they would kind of look like those were the Akami, right? Like the little snake-like looking things.
Yeah.
I feel like he could just have like little basilisk too. Be precious.
So I wonder if the basilisks would be like, say they have the same effect, because they're only the length of 12 fingers, which really isn't, it's not that long. They're probably at most like 5 feet. So if you still look into its eyes, will you still get petrified? Or does it have to be like a bigger length, like a bigger snake, like the one in the Chamber of Secrets? Very interesting stuff we don't know about basilisks.
Because Newt never got to study them.
I know.
Now we'll never know.
J.K. Rowling, get on that. It's a Pottermore article waiting to happen. All right, the next thing we have to discuss, Accio Niffler. So Newt couldn't Accio the Niffler in Fantastic Beasts 1, but had no problem doing it in Crimes of Grindelwald. Is that just a continuity error or lazy writing?
So this has been a big topic since the movie came out. A lot of people are asking this question, and I've seen a few different things. So Pottermore specifically says that it can be used on an animal, but J.K. Rowling's website says that it can only be used on inanimate things. So we need a final word here. I mean, I'm inclined to trust J.K. Rowling, but then she wrote the script where Newt used it on animals. So what's happening here?
Very true. Yeah. And if you can't, I mean, if it had to be like an inanimate object, well, can't you just Accio the coins that are in the Niffler and, summon the Niffler to you like that? Or do they just fly out of the Niffler's pouch or pocket? I would think so. I mean, at that point.
Well, and I feel like I remember hearing this before, but correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't have the script book. But doesn't it say, like, the spell, like, or incantation, and like it says Accio, and that's in like italics, and then like the Niffler part is like not, and then just also added the word Niffler, which also just doesn't really clear anything up.
Yeah, what? How does that help?
Right. Exactly. I just don't. Yeah, it might be like one of those continuity errors in Magic. You know, you can summon. Well, see, if that was the case, I mean, there's just so much. Yeah, never mind. No, it's just a continuity error. I think it's not lazy writing. It's just one of those things in Magic that J.K. Rowling might have forgot about. You know, one of those properties of Magic that J.K. Rowling forgot about.
Well, I'm also interested that if it says that on Pottermore that you can Accio an animal, then like was that changed after the movie when they were like, oh no, we broke canon.
Right, now we know that you can do it.
Yeah.
We watched the movie. Now it's fact.
Well, if so, they need to be changing a lot more things on Pottermore.
That's true.
Another kind of thought that I had, and this is more of a sidebar here, but does anybody feel like we're getting too much Dumbledore in these films? I mean, okay, we've only gotten Dumbledore in one film, but it felt like it was more Dumbledore-centric, even though we saw him just for a few minutes. You know, I personally, I'd love to learn more about Newt and his adventures, but given we're so immersed like in this Dumbledore Grindelwald story arc right now, it seems like the story is just more Dumbledore Grindelwald centric. And is that more due to the point of where we're at in the story, or is it this is going to be something that's going to be drawn out over the next few movies?
It's going to be something that's drawn out more over the next few movies. And honestly, like, I'm completely okay with that. I've kind of, like, since the beginning of this, and especially, like, once we started learning more about what the plot of Crimes of Grindelwald was, I think it was, like, pretty clear that they're steering it towards this direction of ending it with that final battle between the two of them. So it would make sense that they would kind of start focusing on Dumbledore more and more and more. And I'm excited for that, because I love Dumbledore and I want to learn everything possible about him. But I understand if people are like, no, we want the beasts, we care about Newt. But I just feel like we're moving in that direction where it's going to be more Dumbledore.
Yeah, I agree. It almost feels like the first movie, she introduced these characters just to have characters in this world, because she's like, ooh, I really am interested in Dumbledore and Grindelwald, so that's where I'm going. But I guess I'll start with these characters, and I'll start with this story, and then that way I'll have a frame for the story. So I'll set it in this world with these characters, and then I'll introduce Dumbledore, and then we'll go from there. So it's like, especially when you think about the other characters, not even just Newt, but like Queenie, Tina, Jacob, Credence, I feel like they all are just kind of fitting in that framework that she's created, Dumbledore. So in a way, I guess I do feel like it's too much Dumbledore, because if that was the story you wanted to tell that story. I'm here for that, absolutely. But you started with the Beast and the man who loves the Beast, and I was kind of there for that story. So I'm a little split on what I want out of the series.
Well, I guess too, like, I'm kind of excited then to see kind of how these different characters that we've come to love, Queenie, Tina, Newt, Jacob, like, how are these guys going to fit into, like, the Dumbledore Grindelwald storyline? Like, what role are they going to play in all of this? Because I feel like they're going to have to play, obviously, an important role, because otherwise this wouldn't be a 5-part movie series. Would just have like a trilogy or something like that.
Yeah, and they wouldn't be in the movie to begin with. So that's what I can't wrap my brain around. Where in the world is Jacob gonna fit in the next 3 films? I don't see it happening, but now they're not gonna cut the character. So I just don't, I guess I'm baffled as to why she would start us with these characters and this story and then want to veer in this other direction where, I mean, I read a lot of books, I watch a lot of movies, and I cannot imagine where she's going to fit these characters in.
Well, maybe it's not necessarily going in the direction that we all think it is. Like, maybe we're all, like, wrong, and this isn't going in as heavy of the Dumbledore direction as it appears to be. Like, I'd give it to JKR to be the one to be like, you think we're going this way. Actually, we're more going, a little bit to the left.
This whole movie is about basilisks now.
Yeah.
One-third movie.
Well, given the big reveal at the end of the movie, it just adds another Dumbledore character to the mix. It's just like I think I'd have to agree. This is the direction that she's going in. And in fact, Sydney, you and I were having this interesting discussion in our Patreon Slack chat earlier today, where the next title of the movie we're kind of thinking has to include Dumbledore in the title.
Yeah, I definitely think it's going to include Dumbledore in the title. Not just because I think that's going to be a focus of it, but in part because, like, the conversations you guys have had in the past, like, they need it for marketing reasons. But I 100% think that Dumbledore is going to be in the title somewhere.
So if we were looking at this, like, transitioning to title discussion just for a moment here, if we looked at all the Wizarding World films, right, Sorcerer's Stone referred to an object, Chamber of Secrets is a place, Prisoner of Azkaban is a person, Goblet of Fire is an object, Order of the Phoenix, group of people, Half-Blood Prince is a person, Deathly Hallows is an object. I'm kind of thinking, since Crimes of Grindelwald referred to a person, well, this next movie has to refer to a person as well. It's like the destiny of the Dumbledores or something like that. It just really wouldn't surprise me if they kind of spun the story in that direction. It would, and it's not the direction that I wish that they would go in as a fan, but of course I have no creative control over the movie. But still, I'm all for getting more and new information, a fleshed out story of the Dumbledores. But as far as a centric movie, like you said, Gretchen, they started with the beasts. Let's continue with the beasts. Let's not go in this different direction. Even though that she's going to tie it in, and already that feels like too much information to kind of consume in a movie format. So I feel like we're going to have the same problem in movie 3 as we had in movie 2. It's just an overload of information. I mean, even just kind of thinking through it, I don't know.
Yeah, and I think that so it's so hard, like, right now, because we're in, like, kind of like the throes of it, and we're in the movie 2 of 5. So we're all kind of like, a lot of us are frustrated with where things are at right now and the amount of information that we've gotten. But I think by the time we get to movie 5, like, it's going to feel a lot better, and maybe we'll have, like, a better understanding of, like, why each movie is the way that it was. Which is why I just continue to think that the next movie is going to be more focused on Dumbledore.
Yeah, I mean, she is laying the path for the story, right? In movie 2, I mean, this might not be a direction that the fans were expecting or wanted her to go in, and that's fine. But what people have to remember is that this is just a stepping stone in the overall picture. This is a piece of the puzzle, and we're not getting the entire puzzle until movie 5 is concluded. And I hope that, everything is going to be wrapped up by then. I mean, it should just title Fantastic Beasts 3, We're Really, Really Sorry. I think that would be...
The Dumbledore's Apology.
The Dumbledore's Apology. No, I got it. Fantastic Beasts 3, Dumbledore spills it all.
That would never happen. Dumbledore spills nothing.
In the next movie, I would not be surprised if Dumbledore says, "Come here, Newt, I'm going to tell you everything." That the classic Dumbledore-ness where he really doesn't, he's like, "Oh, I'm going to tell you everything," and then he doesn't tell you really anything.
I'd be super mad if she pulled that, though.
Yeah, I would too.
Can't deal with that again.
But see, that's J.K. Rowling's writing. That's
you gotta roll with it.
It's an expected direction that she could possibly go with the series. So I don't know. We're in for a wild ride, I think.
I hope so.
Okay, guys, before we get out of here today, we're going to play a game of Avada Kedavra, Amortentia, and Imperio. So it's going to go me to Gretchen to Sydney, and then Sydney back to me.
Oh, boy.
All right. Gretchen, your 3 are Mundungus Fletcher,
Ugh.
Tom the Innkeeper from the 3 Broomsticks,
Ugh.
And Argus Filch.
Ugh.
Oh, those are rough.
Those are terrible. Oh my gosh.
You look like you have a bad taste in your mouth right now.
Those are awful. Well, I can't think of Filch without thinking of his Game of Thrones character, so I'm gonna have to kill him. Because that just wouldn't work out. So I'll kill Filch. I'll Imperio Mundungus, because at least he can, like, well, Tom's a business owner.
Ooh, she's thinking about this economically. She's like, well, but you know what? Mundungus can steal you more stuff. So
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I'm gonna Imperial Mundungus, and he can like do my dirty deeds or whatever, and go out and steal stuff for me. And then I'll what's the name of the last thing?
Tom, the innkeeper.
No.
Oh, Amortentia.
Amortentia. Oh my gosh. I'll Amortentia Tom. I'll stick it in his coffee, and then we'll be like the innkeeper and the innkeeper's wife and Les Mis.
Nice. Okay.
So there you have it. All right, Sydney, yours are not nearly as bad. I'm super lazy, so I'm picking the 3 people we picked to talk to in the Wizarding World. So your choice is.
I was gonna do the same thing.
Do it. I got to
Dang it.
first. Your choices are Draco, Dumbledore, or Ginny.
Oh, jeez. Even though I really wanted to have a conversation with him, I'm gonna have to kill Draco.
Yeah.
I am going to Imperial Dumbledore.
Yeah.
I love how you went up like 4 octaves whenever you said that too.
I don't feel great about that. But I feel like Dumbledore would understand.
Dogs are going
the
to
bind that I was in. So he would understand. Oh gosh, that means I have to come up with new ones.
Oh.
Okay, Terrence.
Sure.
Let's do Ludo Bagman.
Okay.
Gilderoy Lockhart.
Okay.
And Dawlish.
Dawlish.
Dior.
Okay. Wow. Okay, so I'm gonna have to Amortentia Dawlish because he's an Auror, so he can protect me. And we will fall in love and have many kids, I'm sure. I'm going to Imperio Lockhart and have him appear on the show every week. I think that would be good. People would like to hear from Lockhart.
Yeah, that's almost like doable, that one.
Yeah.
I mean, but what do you do if Smarmy and Gilderoy are on the same episode?
Ooh, Luke Hart and Lockhart. That's gonna be boy. That would be a battle there. Let's see, and then obviously I would Avada Kedavra Ludo Bagman because I can't think of anything that dude would be good for.
Nah,
not unless you guys can.
No, Ludo's kind of useless.
Okay.
No, he's not useless. He's really good at evading doing what he needs to do.
Well, then maybe that's why you should Imperio Ludo. Because finally do what he's supposed to do.
Ludo Bagman, the master procrastinator.
Seriously. He's like, yeah, I'll be right back. I swear. Like, you guys are doing awesome. And then he runs away. Gives you fake gold. I'm so sad they cut him from the movie. Because I actually really enjoyed that book.
I was about to say, the people that just have watched the movies and not read the books and listened to our show are like, who the hell is Ludo Bagman?
He's a favorite.
Yeah. Really enjoyable.
Yeah. Okay, well, that does it for this week's episode. Let's, we haven't done this in a while. Let's go ahead and kind of plug our other projects. Gretchen, what else do you work on in addition to our show? Where can people find you?
You can find me on the Twitters and the Instagrams at Gretcha Sketcha. There's an A on the end because Gretcha Sketch was taken. Right now I'm tweeting about tidying up with Marie Kondo on Netflix, and I have yet to start the tidying process. I just sit on my couch and watch other people tidy. But eventually, maybe I'll start it myself, and then I'll tweet about that. You can also find me on MuggleNet.com. I am the assistant news team manager, and I write articles over there, so you can find me there. Do I do anything else?
Don't you do an article for Loops Network, right?
Yes, I do. Thank you. I knew there's something I was missing. So the podcastthat.com, I write blogs over there. Last month's blog was about, oh my gosh, I wrote it so long ago. Nope. This month's blog is about the podcast that floats down here. So if you're a fan of Stephen King, look out for a blog about their most recent episode coming soon.
Cool beans. Sydney, what about you? Where can everybody find your works online?
So you can follow me on Instagram at Sydney Moo. So it's my name without the K. I post lots of pictures of my cats. And I also post a lot of pictures about how cold it is in North Dakota. Similarly, on Twitter, you can find me at Sydney_Mook, where I tweet a lot about the news because I am a journalist for my day job. And then I tweet also a lot about the New York Yankees and the Kentucky Wildcats. So if you like sports and fodder and news, that's a good spot for you. Because I tend to tweet a lot about all of those.
Well, very, very cool. You guys can check me out over on Twitter at twitter.com/Terrenceus. That's TERRANCEUS. You can also follow me over on Instagram at the same handle. I am kind of stepping away from Facebook. So I'm doing kind of a Facebook cleanse right now to where I deleted the app from my device, from my phone, from my mobile devices. I only use it on desktop now, which has been really a tough process to go through because I was always on Facebook every single day, every day. But I still check it. I still check it like once every other day or, sometimes once a day, depending on my schedule and things like that. But if you guys are just fed up with Facebook altogether, like I recommend you delete the app from your phone, or if you can't delete the app, at least turn off notifications. And it really helps out like 100%, you guys. Like no joke there.
Oh, I'm so envious of you that you just like took it off your phone. I have to have it for like work.
Right.
Otherwise I would definitely like not use it. But I find myself on Facebook so often and it's just so not good for my mental health, probably.
Yeah,
Facebook or Twitter for that matter.
Yeah, I just I'm trying to see if I can do it. It's been about a month so far. So I think I've gotten over that 20-day edge that helps you break a habit. And I don't find myself missing it as much as I thought I would. So if you're looking to do that or you're looking for tips, I've migrated over to Twitter. So follow me over on Twitter. I'll be happy to talk to you guys about it. We'd like to thank Sydney for joining us this week. Sydney, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Thank me, yeah. But really, thank you, Sydney. You're awesome.
Thank you. Never ending thank you.
Right.
So much gratitude.
But anyway, that does it for this week's episode of Hogwarts Radio. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. Once again, I'm Terrence Pinkston.
And I'm Gretchen Rush.
And that does it for this week's episode. We'll see you next week for episode 230. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye now.
That was bloody brilliant.
Codswallop.